Hi, I'm Derrick Walker, and this is my Midnight Blues Story. Today we're going to talk about the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. The Paul Butterfield Blues Band in the late 60s did three iconic albums. One was called the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. I was introducing the band. It was mostly some classic blues songs. It's done really well, and a couple of original blues songs. But the next album, East West, now that was a revolution. They they managed to mix jazz and blues and popular music and make something very unique. The title song, East West, had elements of Dave Brubeck and John Coltrane and this spectacular solo by Michael Bloomfield, and Paul Butterfield's harmonica really inspired me. It sounded like sometimes a saxophone or a trumpet or something I had never heard before. I didn't know you could do that on the harmonica. And because of this great playing, and the whole album was just great, that a lot of harmonica players around the world were inspired, which making uh, Paul Butterfield the most imitated harmonica player in history. And then second would be Little Walter, and third would be Sonny Boy Williamson. Pretty much in that order. But uh, the next album, Resurrection of Pig Boy Cranshaw, was just slick, and they used blues and more of a '50s songwriting element, very musical. They did songs like One More Heartache. One more heartache, I can't take it. My heart is carrying such a heavy load. One more, it could break it. And they did songs like this that took blues and made it slick. It's one of my favorite albums to date. Uh, uh, and I would say that if you want to play modern blues, that's something that's not from the Mississippi Delta or strictly Chicago, then you have to listen to those three albums. Now, my experiences with some of the band members. First, Paul Butterfield. I was eating dinner at a place called the Hilltop Inn in San Rafael, California, and I hear this harmonica wailing in the ballroom of the hotel restaurant. My friend and I go and look, and there's Paul Butterfield. We're like amazed that he was there. It turned out that their tour had some cancellations, and they had to spend a week at this hotel performing, and so they would get a meal and a hotel room rather than have to go home in the middle of a tour. No, we hung out, and I became friends with Paul. I invited him to my house for a dinner, and so of course I asked him for harmonica lessons. His immediate reaction was, "I don't give harmonica lessons." And I was like, "Oh," and then I told him my story, how my Uncle John taught me to play when I was a little boy, and how much I loved his playing, and he reluctantly went, "Okay, I'll give you lessons." And what he said was he was going to use these lessons for him to also work on his songwriting, and he was a great singer, but he said he needed to work on his singing too. But that's the way it is. Um, so for that week, he'd come over every day, play the guitar and sing, and I would have to play the harmonica, and he would like coach me when not to play, for instance, and when to play, and how much, and basically like that. Now, one day I was going to pull out all my Paul Butterfield licks that I have been practicing, and I played like my favorite licks that I've been working on really hard. And afterwards, I asked him, "What did you think?" Really anxious to hear what he thought. He went, "That was awful. I hated it." I was like, "What? Why? What was wrong?" He said, "First of all, don't try to sound like anyone else, especially me." And next was don't play licks, play melodies. And then and then what else was there? Listen to the words of the singer, because in there are hints of what to play. And I believe this is the best advice I could give any musician anywhere playing any instrument. Is these three things. Don't imitate. Well, in the beginning you can imitate, but then you have to innovate. I would say, don't just play licks that you've been practicing and learning, because that's what it'll sound like, licks. Play the melody. Listen to the melody of the song, and play around that, or complement it. And thirdly, listen to the lyrics. Listen to the singer, because not only the words I've noticed, but the whole mood of the singer. You should be totally into to the singer if you're a soloist, and not just off on your own ego trip. Anyway, so some more stories about Paul. Paul afterwards started inviting me to his gigs around the Bay Area. So one day I go to his gig, because I told him about my martial arts experience and everything. He wanted me to help like bring him off the stage and stuff, because he would be he was still popular, and people would all be mulling around, and hard for him to get from the stage to the back room. So we're like helping him get to the back room, and this guy comes up, and he decides to speak to him, and he says, "Do you have any advice for a young upcoming harmonica player?" And he goes, with no hesitation, "Yeah, quit." He turned around and walked away. Now that is classic Paul Butterfield. Anyone who knows him know that is classic him. Another time, I'm helping a different gig. We're walking him to the back room, and this French journalist comes up with a microphone and says, "Mr. Butterfield, I don't mean to copy the mocker accent. Anyway, she asked him, what have you contributed to music over the last 2 years?" Nothing, no, nothing, no. Like, so Paul's reaction is to lunge at her and grab her by the throat. And me and Nick Ravenitis have to drag him off and take him into the back room. Okay, Paul had an explosive temper. But I'll tell you, he was one of the best harmonica players and combination singer. He had a great range, and his lyrics were just great. If you want to hear some really iconic Paul Butterfield, don't forget to hear the Muddy Waters album, Fathers and Sons, and that's you can't get better blues than that album. Fathers and Sons, Muddy Waters, and featuring Paul Butterfield. Some more of the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, some of the other players. Elvin Bishop used to come to my gigs. I had put a band together called Dimensions with some great players in it, and I was playing gigs around the Bay Area anyway. So Elvin used to, for some reason, come to my gigs, stand on the side, and stare at me with no expression. So great, makes me real nervous. So one day he comes up to me, I want to talk to you. Takes me in the back room and he goes, that was really bad. You need to listen more. You need to practice more. You need to work on your singing. You need to work on your harmonica playing, your sax playing. And he went on and on. And I was like, oh, thank you. And actually, I have a lot to thank him for. A few months later, he's at one of my gigs with this, staring at me with no expression. And then once again, he wants to talk to me. I'm going, oh no, here we go again. He takes me in the back room. He goes, that was much better. You have finally, started to take this music seriously. And I'm proud of you and stuff like that. And we became friends, and we became such good friends that we're playing pool together one day, and I'm winning finally. He always beat me every time. I'm finally winning, and this guy comes in and goes, "Okay, the tour bus is ready." He goes, "I gotta go. My tour bus is outside." I'm like, "Oh, fine, yeah, of course, He goes, "Why don't you come with us? Come with you. I don't even have a toothbrush." He goes, "I'll buy you a toothbrush and some clothes if you come with us." So I jump in the tour bus. I'm on tour with Elvin Bishop suddenly, and Luther Tucker was also in the tour bus. He was on the tour, and I got to tell you about the horn section. Terry Hank and Jerry McKinney. If you're a horn player, you got to look these guys up. This is real blues saxophone, real blues saxophone and country saxophone. If you don't know anything about country saxophone and real authentic blues saxophone, these two guys, Terry Hank and Jerry McKinney, you got to look them up. So I'm on tour with these guys. One of the dates is with John Lee Hooker. So Luther takes me in the back room with John Lee and says, "This is Derrick. He plays the harmonica." John Lee's very, very sweet man, and he goes, "Oh, do you play the harmonica? Do you want to sit in with me?" And I went, "No." I was very nervous back then and didn't have a lot of self-confidence. And so I said no, something I will always regret. So anyway, so let's move on. Mark Naftalin. Mark Naftalin ran a jam session in a place called the Sleeping Lady Cafe in Fairfax, California. And there I got the opportunity to play with so many people like Lady Bianca, the Headhunters from Herbie Hancock Band, many people. They came from all over the Bay Area to his jam session, iconic jam session, I would say. And he always gave us a lot of flack for if we did anything wrong. He was really hard in this way, but he also gave us a lot of credit for anything we would do right. That's Mark. Since I came to Europe, I always have modeled my jam sessions after his way of doing it. I've seen nobody else in the world doing it this way. Some people have copied me since then, so they're actually copying Mark. But it's a special way of doing the jam sessions, and I learned that from him. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you very much, Neil, at Saxland for asking me to do this interview. And I have a few more to do because you've asked me quite a few questions. I'm going to try to squeeze them in a few videos. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one.